All leadership is either technical or adaptive by nature. And what I mean by that is, I see a room here of some very high-level, skilled technical leaders, which means in your 20, 30, 25 years of experience, you have learned all of the technical things you need to know to be successful at running a Burger King, right? I know how to run a restaurant technically. We all show up with big toolboxes full of technical knowledge. It's how we got where we are today. We encounter a challenge in our system, we apply the technical solutions that have worked for us in the past, and we all have a lot of technical solutions. We're all skilled, master technical leaders. The flip side to that is adaptive leadership. So where the value of technical leadership is that which is the same as a result of my presence. I apply policies, I apply solutions, and that which is the same in my business as a result of my presence is a result of my technical leadership. Adaptive is that which is different. What's different today than was yesterday as a result of my presence? How is this team member different today as opposed to yesterday as a result of my presence? Adaptive leaders focus on the change within the system that delivers the results. Great way to look at it is this. One of my professors described adaptive leadership to me thusly. He is a cardiothoracic surgeon, a heart surgeon. And he says, Tim, every day I perform the technical solution to heart disease, which is what? Double bypass, man, right? We'll cut you open and fix your heart and we'll sew you back up. He says, but I also give all of my patients the adaptive solution to heart disease, which is what? Low sodium, low fat diet, exercise, stop smoking, all of these things are adaptive solutions to heart disease that deliver a result. Now, technical work is so easy and adaptive work is so hard. What percentage of his patients do you think show back up on the operating table for the technical solution to heart disease? 84%. 84% recidivism rate because doing the change work is so difficult. But if we're committed to it, we can create big change in our organizations and big change in our results. How many people in this room have had to solve the same problem more than once? More than once a week? A day? A shift? I do, right? So the question is, if you have to solve the same problem more than once in your business, is it solved? It is not solved. It is fixed because we apply technical fixes to things, right? We put out little fires for people. We fix things, but until we really solve it, we're gonna have to fix that all the time. If you've had to solve the same problem more than once, you have to understand that it's not solved. There's no such thing as a broken system. Every single system is perfectly designed to deliver the results it's currently delivering. And until you're ready to change the system, you're still gonna have to put out those fires every single day. Adaptive leadership is key and critical, especially when it comes to people. Don't think for a minute that the young person that's sitting across the desk from you didn't see the 13 other help wanted signs on their way into this interview, right? These jobs are a dime a dozen. So they place no inherent value on this job in and of itself, the way the previous generations did. So what do you do with a candidate or an employee that places no inherent value in this position? How do you motivate somebody like that? How do you keep them around when they say, oh, I can get this same job tomorrow? The question is, why don't they? And the answer is this. When you have a group of people that places no inherent value in the position, it becomes incumbent upon you to put value into the position. It's no longer the paycheck or the position that's valuable, it's you. The reason that my employees don't walk out and get the same job making the same money today is right here. It's all of this, right? Because they know they can make the same money working across the street, but they're terrified that they're not gonna get all of this. The problem, though, is that most managers hire the way a mousetrap catches mice. That is, they wait until they have need or a mouse problem, and they go and they get their mousetrap or application, and they sit it out in the middle of the kitchen floor, and they hope that a mouse walks into it. Terrible way to catch mice, hope. Hope is a terrible business strategy, by the way. But they hope that a mouse walks into it. And not only do they hope a mouse walks into it, they hope that a perfect mouse walks into it. They hope that a mouse that's smiley and energetic and friendly and experienced and prompt and hygienic, they want a very specific mouse to walk into that trap. But that's not the kind of mice that walk into this trap. You know what kind of mice walk into this trap? Slow, stupid mice. Kyle. That's who walks into this trap. Smart mice don't walk into this. Smart mice stay way away from this. Kyle walks in. C's and D's walk into this trap. You know what the best mousetrap in the world is? And by the way, you guys have all kinds of mousetraps, I'm sure. You probably have a stack of mousetraps behind the counter. Maybe you tacked a mousetrap up at the local high school or junior college. Oh no, you guys are a big national brand. Probably fancy. You probably got one of them online mousetraps, don't you? Right? They don't catch mice. You know what the best mousetrap is? This. You know why? Because a cat doesn't lay on the kitchen floor with its mouth open, hoping for a mouse to walk into it. You know what a cat does? Hunts. A cat is proactive. He goes out and gets it. He knows everything about mice. He knows what the scratches behind the wall mean. He knows where they live. He knows what mouse poop smells like. He goes and gets them. And the great thing about a cat is, no matter how many mice he catches today, he wakes up hungry for mice tomorrow. He's always hungry for mice. This trap, once it catches a mouse, what happens? It just goes back in the drawer until you have another need, right? But a good cat will wake up hungry for mice every day. And your leaders should be the same way.
Hi, Tim Kirkland here. If you're in business today, you no doubt know that one of the greatest challenges for any owner, operator, franchisee, or manager is finding and hanging on to great people. But it's important to realize that we're not in a labor crisis. We are in a turnover crisis. Of course, hiring is important, and it should be a top priority of everyone in leadership. But good help is getting harder and harder to find. Consider that if you never lost anybody, you'd never have to find anybody. Still, many leaders deploy themselves and their resources almost exclusively on recruiting and almost none on retaining high performers. Not only is this an inefficient use of time and money, it might be costing you more than you know. For example, let's say I operate a business that does an average of $3 million in annual sales. That works out to an average daily volume of about $8,219 per day. With an average profit margin of, let's say, 10%, that means I make just over $820 profit each day. Now, let's say I have a team of 25 employees. In the customer service industry, estimates place total average annual turnover at about 100%. And that number is way higher for businesses like fast food and way lower for businesses like retail. But 100% is a solid number for our purposes. That means I'll need to replace 25 team members this year. Many staffing and training experts estimate that each $10 per hour new hire represents a hard cost of about $3,000, taking into consideration recruiting costs, onboarding, training, and labor costs. If you included soft costs, that number's likely to go much higher. So that means, at a minimum, my turnover cost for 25 team members in this business is $75,000 a year. Because no business I know of has a turnover line on their P&L, that means it's a cost without a budget. And as we all know, expenses that are not budgeted come directly from the bottom line. My business makes about $820 per day in profit, and that means my first 91 days, or 3 months of operation, are profit-free. And that's before factoring in all of my business expenses. Creating a culture of retention where high performers are happy and productive is a worthwhile investment of your time and resources. Every employee who shows up to work every day is worth 10 times the profit than the products and services they handle. Are you ready to start treating people as profit centers and products as cost centers instead of the other way around? Connect with us and discover how we can help use your next conference or meeting as an opportunity to make your leaders better at the crucial skill of retention and put months of profit back in your business. Hi, it's Tim Kirkland. You know, every year I speak for and interact with over 20,000 business leaders, and I ask each one I meet what their greatest leadership challenge is. It probably comes as no surprise that one of the answers I hear most frequently is how to engage, motivate, and coach increasingly multi-generational teams. In the past, the typical workplace usually consisted of 2 generations, tried and tested veterans and ambitious up-and-comers, campers and climbers. Today, however, it's not unusual for one to find oneself in a workforce made up of 4 or even 5 distinct generations, each with their own preferences, experiences, and points of view when it comes to work. For example, when asked how they value a job or open position, baby boomers will likely respond with the feeling that good jobs are hard to find. Gen Xers are more likely to equate work with passion, saying things like, "I want this job because I love people," or design, or fashion, or food. And increasingly, we find that members of the emerging workforce are more likely to see a job as a means to an end and approach them as interchangeable or even a dime a dozen. When it comes to training and learning, boomers are linear learners who are likely to prefer a traditional manual, whereas Xers are more visual, participative learners. After all, they gave the world the training video. And members of the emerging workforce are driven to learn by understanding the purpose or the why behind what we do and how we do it. This generational diversity can present potential pitfalls, conflict, and tension between team members, but it can also be an invaluable source of creativity, innovation, and growth. By acknowledging and embracing the differences in expectations, learning and performance styles, skills and perspectives, leaders can create a workplace that benefits from the sharing of power, experience, and skills. In my new presentation, Blended, Leading a Multi-Generational Workforce, I explore the different views, needs, and values of baby boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, and the emerging workforce of Gen Z and beyond, and detail how applying an adaptive leadership approach in your organization can reduce friction and conflict while encouraging cooperation and elevating results. Let's set up a call and discuss how we can work together to introduce harmony and generational cohesion in your organization.